I thought about compiling this video just explaining all the steps that we had to go through to actually purchase a house in 2024. And we bought a 2-bedroom apartment in the inner city. Of course, I'm not gonna say exactly the address, but yeah, you can look it up. Inner city, Brisbane, 2025, pretty expensive. So I think we did a good choice in buying early 2024 as soon as we could afford. I know a lot of people are having the issue of buying a house or trying to get in the market right now. And so I thought this video might be useful, if not at least to keep a record of what we have done. Just following the list that I wrote down, let's see what we had to do. It's a lot of points, so just bear with me. As a very first step, you have to research the market and see what's out there, how much things actually cost, and what you actually want to buy. See what's out there and talk to your partner, or see with your family what you actually want to buy right now. Are you looking for investment, or do you want to live there? Are you happy with a bigger place, a small place, all of that stuff? Then we also had to check with our bank to see our borrowing capacity. Then obviously you have to go for inspections. And we took some time to do this, but in a serious matter, we actually did maybe a month of like three or four weekends in a row just checking places. One of the weekends we checked like 5 places. It was like a really hot time in the market, early 2024. So after finding a good place, you have to set a price to offer, and that will depend on the research that you have done and what the agent has told you and what people have told you about that area, what you even have seen in the apartment, if you think it's worth what they are asking, and just place an offer. There's like a form that you have to fill. The agents usually provide this type of form. Usually this part is not that complicated. Of course, before placing an offer, you have to have into consideration like small things that can accumulate to be a lot, like stamp duty fees and like, for example, inspection fees that you have to do to make sure that the place is okay. Because once they accept your offer, you'll have to do some inspections that are mandatory, including the plumbing inspection and the electrical inspection, and that comes out of your pocket. You also have to pay for a solicitor. Depending on how much you're willing to pay for a solicitor, you'll get a better or worse service. After you place the offer, there might be some bargaining that you have to do. Like, for example, in our case, we placed an offer that was like a little over 500,000 for the 2-bed. And the agent came back to us and he was trying to bargain with or without furniture. What do you want? He was actually trying to get a reasonable amount more than we were willing to pay for. So we just decided to not go higher than our given threshold, because that's what we were comfortable with. We didn't want to overcommit, overextend. And so we just said, no, we're not going over that. And yeah, the agent even said something like, oh, but then you might miss out, there might be other offers. Yeah, they were kind of bluffing. So try to bargain your price if necessary, but like stick to your ground and don't go over what you decided with your partner. If you are accepted for a contract, you'll have to find a solicitor to send the contract for review before signing. Some solicitors do this for free, only charging if you move on to the next phase. So careful with this. Like, we got this company called Own It here in Brisbane. They were not great. They were also on the cheaper side, and we thought, we just need this documentation to be done and someone to be guiding the process, even though they're not really, apparently, I'm not sure, but like apparently they didn't really guide us very well. Some people in the company were really good, other people were really bad, and they had a lack of communication inside. So maybe if you don't want to go through the stresses that we had of people miscommunicating things, pay a little bit more for a solicitor so you don't have to stress about these things. Your solicitor will confirm that the contract is legit. You will sign the contract. The contract will be sent back with the seller's signature as well. You will be required to pay an initial deposit to the seller, which will be a percentage of the value of the property. In our case, the initial deposit was like $2,000. Then you have to pay an onboarding fee for your solicitor if you haven't done so already. So now you enter this conditional period that ends 2 weeks after you sign the contract. and it kicks automatically unless the buyer solicitor is asked to terminate the contract for any reason. In most cases, for established homes, electrical, plumbing, and build and pest inspections are required from buyers. So arrange inspections for these within conditional period. If all is good, you will pay a second deposit. For us was $25,000 just before you enter unconditional contract. And only for very specific situations, you or the seller can exit the contract. For example, if any major repairs are needed that are not met by the seller. So for example, in our case, there was a hot water problem. The apartment didn't have hot water. We didn't know if it was a problem from the building itself or if it was from the unit. We had to ask them to investigate this, and there was a moment of like big awkward moment just before we signed the unconditional contract that we weren't going to move forward even after the inspections if they were not willing to fix the water, because we wanted to make sure it was not something permanent or something that was going to be very costly for us to fix. So we said, you either fix the hot water or we're not moving forward, even though we already spent like $600 just on inspections. But we thought it's better to like lose this amount than to buy something that is broken and it's gonna take way more. In the end of the day, they ended up actually fixing, and it was not that expensive to fix from what we saw. They even tried to bargain a little bit. They tried to lower the price so that we would be the ones to do whatever fix has to be done. But we didn't trust very much, so we decided to, nah, if you don't fix it, then we're not buying the property. So they decided to fix it anyway, and then we went through the unconditional contract. Now you wait until settlement date. This is a very important date, usually 30 to 45 days from contract date, while completing documentation required for your loan with your bank and for any concessions you might be entitled to with your solicitor. So, for example, if you're a first home buyer, you might have some concessions, less stamp duty that you might have to pay. Closer to the settlement date, your solicitor will send you and your bank agent the settlement statement with a breakdown of all your fees and payments, essentially showing how much you effectively will pay as a whole, including your loan, but excluding interest, of course. You will be asked to put all the required funds into a specific bank account that your bank will tell you at least 2 business days prior to settlement. There will be a hold on these funds during this time, meaning you will see your money vanish, but that just means the money was placed on hold and you cannot access it at this time. So I wrote this because at that time we didn't really know how the process exactly worked, like the details behind the curtain, and we were a bit like scared, and we were a bit surprised when we saw the whole money like just disappear from the account. Like, where has it gone to? So we called our agent and we just asked, like these things for the first time, they can be really scary. It's a lot of money. So yeah, but it was all good. It just goes through the bank. A time is arranged between bank and solicitors for the settlement date. Usually the day prior of the morning of settlement, you do a final inspection to the place to ensure all is okay. And all was okay in our case. At settlement date, bank makes transfer to solicitors and sellers using the held funds. You will receive a call or email from your solicitor or bank if all went well. Pretty much, saying congratulations, you're a homeowner, and you go and meet the agent to get your keys. So we basically did this in the same day, in the settlement day, I believe. We met our agent right down at the apartment, and we went up, and he offered us like a bottle of wine. It was really nice to finally step in home, knowing that we own it. We don't have to pay rent. Yeah, it felt really good. Other details that you have to be aware of is you have to ensure the energy company of the place is aware of the change of ownership. However, if you're renting, you might have a few more steps to go like us. So for example, you have to buy bare essentials, of course, bed, mattress, fridge, washing machine. We use actually end of the financial year promotions to get these good deals. The thing is that we bought our apartment in like early July, and these promotions ended, end of June, And so we actually had to commit to these items before the settlement date. And that was kind of like a risk. Then we had to rent a van and move all the things from the old place, the rental place, to the new home. We had to pay a cleaning fee to the rental place, standard stuff. Then we had to pay some compensation because we broke our lease. Then we also had to negotiate if breaking the lease would have to make us, keep paying them rent until they find a new person. In our case, they wanted us to keep paying rent until they found a new tenant, but luckily there was a plumbing issue that allowed us to renegotiate that. So we just paid 1 week rent and then some ad fees, apparently 620 plus 200. 620 was the rent and 200 was the ad fees, and we still got the bond back. So don't forget that in Brisbane you have the RTA that you can call. The RTA will protect the tenant and also the interests of the owner. In our case, the rental agent, even after this deal was done, he wanted us to keep paying rent until they found tenant, even after we settled something, and everything was in written form. So we had evidence that the deal was done and we wouldn't have to pay anything else. But apparently the owners decided, no, we want you to keep paying. And I said, no, we're not gonna keep paying, and I'll call the RTA to confirm that that's the case, because we have written evidence that you guys agreed. Even though it's not a contract, they acted in we acted in good faith, and they acted apparently in good faith, but then they went back with their word. So in disputes like this, call the RTA, confirm what's the position, the situation, and what you can do before making assumptions. Then after that, of course, is the honeymoon phase. You go to IKEA and you buy all the remaining furniture with your spouse, with your partner, by yourself, with your family. In our case, we decided to pay someone to actually come here and assemble things from IKEA. It was way faster and more practical. And because I couldn't be here to help my partner since I was on a business trip, IKEA charges, I think, $40 an hour, at least back in 2024, to assemble these things. They assume 10-hour work, so we had to pay $400, but they actually took, I think, a couple of hours, maybe 3 hours to assemble everything, which is fine. We already assumed that the price would be something like that, and it took less time, which is even better, because then they don't have to spend the whole day in the apartment. And then finally you can slowly organize your decoration and settle. Even before putting all the furniture, we had a deep clean of the place, even though they did clean before, but it always feels better if you're the one cleaning it. So we did a deep clean before putting all the furniture. Finally, don't forget to make your mortgage payments. And plan for how much you can add extra every fortnight, because that will help you, pay faster. But that at least that was our strategy. We wanted to pay it as fast as possible so that we can start saving for other things. We were fortunate to find this place that was big enough for the two of us, but cheap enough so that both of us can pay it off really fast. But I understand that some people have really big mortgages, they have amazing places, they have amazing houses. So yeah, each case is a case. In our case was like this. We always had in mind having money for emergency, so opening an offset account is really, really useful. And the offset just allows you to withdraw whatever you want at any time with no penalties. It's really, really useful. You just have to bear in mind that you have to keep the minimum due that you have every month in the offset, so that it can be transferred automatically to the home loan account. So yeah, this was our journey to buying a home. So yeah, that's it.